mistaken sacrifice with disappearing. And what I mean by that is I think I have gotten so good at pouring into everybody's life that needs me right now, my kids, my husband, the business, that I've forgotten that God also has called me to do something. I had wrestled with these crazy emotions that I've never felt towards my husband. It's just a new time in our marriage, like resentment, comparison, anger. And then you get angry and then it's like a domino effect. And then that goes wrong. And then it's just like this whole emotion of just anger. And it's not from God. Prayer, you're praying over yourself all day long and it's not. And it's like the ugliest prayers ever.
It is a very ugly prayer where it's me stepping into the closet at work and just being like, okay, first I need to check myself and to just, we can pray however you want to pray. You can come just as you are. Welcome to Faith Unfiltered Life, the podcast where real faith meets real life. Whether you're a skeptic with questions, a seeker searching for truth, or a believer who's feeling worn out, you're in the right place. We're not here to pretend we've got it all figured out. We're here to have honest conversations about God, culture, relationships, purpose, and the everyday moments that shape our faith. Because faith was never meant to stay inside the walls of a church. It was meant to transform everyday life. So grab a seat at the table and let's have the conversations that just might change your life.
Hey guys, welcome back to Faith Unfiltered Life, and we are excited to be here with you today. I'm Karen.
I'm JoJo.
And we are welcoming Katie today. She is our guest speaker here today, and we can't wait to get into what we're going to talk about.
Yes.
So let's get it started with the question of, tell us a little bit about yourself, Katie.
Okay. My name's Katie, obviously. I know these two lovely ladies from church. We are on the praise and worship team together. I'm a wife, a mom of two, entrepreneur, wife of an entrepreneur. Anything else I should add to that? Wife, mom, entrepreneur,
Yeah.
dreamer,
Yeah.
inventor, book writer.
Writer. I was
Writer.
Cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that part.
It's kind of a new thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Maybe I'll talk about it a little.
Oh, well, have at it.
Okay.
So we're trying this thing where we want to have a guest for you guys once a month. And I think this has been a goal for us for a really long time for the podcast. We just kind of sit down and talk about trajectory. What do we want to do? And having guests on is important to us just because you could hear us probably talk about living full and real faith and real life and what that means to us. But I think it really puts it into a practical, tangible thing when we bring someone else in and they can kind of share their story, whether it's an entrepreneur or a mom or, whoever is on the podcast. And so, it's funny because Katie had her podcast with her husband, Carlos. Her and Carlos had a gym at one point. Carlos Garcia, Katie Garcia, he's still personal trainer, right? Yeah. Still doing his thing. Mm-hmm. Katie's also a personal trainer, which she didn't throw that in there, but she is. And so I was on their podcast a couple of times.
Kind of on hold.
It's okay. She's like super fit. If you ever follow her on social media, she's like goals. Oh. It's kind of gross, but it's okay. And I had been on her podcast a while, and then we started our podcast, and I think I had said, hey, we'd love for you to be a guest at some point. Like, I don't know exactly when. And like literally a whole year.
I know. And it's so funny how the devil works too, because I was like, they don't want me on their podcast.
Oh.
And then
she had asked a couple of times.
I would like ask her, I'm like, can I be on your podcast?
It's a Leon situation where he was like, she hates it. She doesn't want me to be on it. Yeah. I'm never going to be on it. It was very similar to that, but it was just
funny.
It was just simmering. And I think she's always been on the list. Like, we've always known you were going to be a guest. It's funny that you say that because we were like, Katie, for sure. But it was just, the podcast was growing and things were kind of developing, and it just wasn't the time. It wasn't the time to have guests. We wanted to really just establish us and what our mission was, what our vision was. And then we added the boys and we had to establish that routine. And then finally, Karen and I were like, okay, we need to start bringing guests on. I think now we're ready for the guests. And literally the first one was Katie. I was like, Katie's perfect for it.
I'm so honored.
So we're going to still get to know her because I know she was like, she gave a one-liner to explain her, which is crazy because there's no way.
But
you talk about yourself.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like,
it is.
I'm a mom. Yeah.
It is. It's kind of weird. So
I'm a person.
You are a person.
You are a person.
You also, you're on a worship team too.
Yeah, that's how I know you guys.
Yeah.
So I play piano.
Did you say that?
No, she did. She did.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, gosh.
I was listening.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah. So we want to talk about, and I hate to say this, I'm having commitment issues because I want to say we want to talk about the pressure of having it all. You mentioned all of your titles of mom, entrepreneur, worship team member, writer, dreamer, and I love all of those things. But I also don't want to limit the conversation to like what is going to be talked about. So, we're just going to go with the flow. It literally just happened in our other episode and it was a great episode. So I don't want to limit us by saying that. But before we get into that, I really do want to like talk about you and where you're at in your season in life and just kind of like your faith journey. Faith Unfiltered Life is a podcast about real faith for real life. And we like for people just to kind of see the transparency, like the unfilteredness of life. So, just what's the season of life for you right now? Like, how are you?
It's funny because when you asked me to talk about that topic, I was like, man, I am in the thick of that right now, wanting to have it all. I don't even know where to start. I'm juggling a lot of things right now. I am wearing a lot of hats. I am a mom, like I said, but with that, I have a preteen and a toddler. So there's like two completely different stages of life. My husband's an entrepreneur, so just like supporting him. I have my own ambitions. I don't just like to sit around. So lately I've been a stay-at-home mom, which is why I kind of describe myself as a mom. So I've been kind of finding my own ways of doing work. Recently I started designing a gym. I'm writing a book, and I also am in the process of inventing something with people in China. It's a baby gate. It's kind of a long story to get to that. I serve at church. I like to work out. I do like to train people. I took a break from that because we're just too busy for all that right now. But we're busy.
Yeah.
And it's been a tough season.
Yeah.
It's hard wearing a lot of hats. I mean, obviously everybody wears a lot of hats, right? Like we're all busy. But it's been heavy. And I think for me, it feels the heaviest when I don't take the time at the beginning of my day to just give my day to God, right? Like, I think we want to give 100% of ourselves to all the areas of our life, and that's just never going to happen. But we can.
I love that because that was
That's
going to be my
great.
question. So do you think it's possible for everyone to have it all?
No,
No.
I don't.
Okay.
So how do you blend it?
I think that you have to try to give, like, we're never going to be able to give 100% of ourselves because we're not perfect. We're imperfect people. So there's just no such thing as being able to give 100% of ourselves. But I think that you can try your best to give 100% to God. And I think that 100% isn't necessarily 100%. And I don't know how to describe that, but doing your best within the day to talk to God in every area of your life. And then I think He will guide you on what needs attention those days. Like today, I really want you to pour into, your kids' lives. Today, your husband's really going to need you. Today, I really want you to take the time to focus on the business. Today, I really just need you to spend time with me because you're not in a good headspace. Yeah.
So just kind of like prioritizing different things on different days is probably a better way of saying that's how you manage all.
Yeah.
Not necessarily having it all.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that we have that pressure though today? Like in society, would you say that there is a pressure to just have it all, be all?
Oh, absolutely. I think we live in a society where we have social media. So comparison is like the biggest thing. Yeah. And comparison is, to me, I've learned, is like one of the root of all evil. Like when you allow comparison to take root into your heart, it destroys you. And it makes you think that, okay, you're looking at this family on social media and you see, oh, they have the beautiful house. She's so in shape. She's always put together. Her kids have matching outfits. Her husband seems like he helps all the time. That's not reality. So you think like, oh, I need to have that. My kids need to be wearing matching outfits. They need to look like this when they go back to school with cute backpacks and cute matching lunch boxes. And you stress about that. Or, this person is a stay-at-home mom, but she's also selling stuff on Etsy and making money and contributing to her husband. And it's just, you can't allow yourself to do that.
Yeah.
One of the things you said a minute ago reminded me, it was the walking out of a scripture. Like you said it so beautifully. And you said, I like to try and go to God first thing in the morning. And for me to be able to manage it all, he lets me know where I need to focus on that day. And that just brought me back to Proverbs 16:9, where it talks about a man or a woman will plan his day, but God directs his steps.
I love that.
So you really nailed just in how you live your life, how that scripture works,
Yeah.
which is cool. So if nobody ever understood that, this is a good example of what she
Not
just
to say
said.
that I always do that perfectly.
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't think we all
Oh,
do
yeah.
it perfectly, but
Yeah.
that was a beautiful way of saying it.
Because there's days that I'm, you get up and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to do this. Or maybe you hit snooze and, your kids are already calling you and you're like, oh, I'll make time for him later. But I also think that through this season, I have learned what it truly means to pray without ceasing.
Yeah.
And before I really started diving into my walk with God, I thought that meant, on your hands and knees, Lord, guide me through the day, like
Right.
some holy prayer you're praying over yourself all day long. And it's not. And it's like the ugliest prayers ever, right?
We
Like,
talk about this a lot on the
We
podcast, so
do.
I would love to
do.
hear, like,
Yeah.
what now that you through this season, what does that come to mean? Like, what does that look like for you every day?
so recently, I think he's really been working with me on praying without ceasing. My husband's doing a bodybuilding show. And if you've ever lived with someone who's doing a bodybuilding show, it is a whole thing. Sorry, honey. It's exhausting. And I've just had wrestled with these crazy emotions that I've never felt towards my husband. It's just a new time in our marriage, like resentment, comparison, anger. And I've found that instead, when I feel a certain way towards him, I'll immediately be like, okay, God, I know this is not right. How do you want me to act? What do I need to do? And when you pray to him, you feel it. The Holy Spirit just comes over you and he's like, no, you need to love him. You need to be patient with him. And that is not always easy, especially with our kids. I've found that even in disciplinaries, my oldest son, I only have him part-time. So I sometimes struggle with disciplining him because I don't always want to be his time at our house, me correcting him all the time. But that's not how I should be. And God's really been working on me with that. But I've only found that when, something happens with my oldest son, I stop and I'm like, God, how do I handle this? I mean, he's like, you need to discipline it. But then it's like, so, okay, let's say you don't listen to God and you're like, no, screw that. He should be helping more. He shouldn't be doing this. And then you get angry and then it's like a domino effect. And then that goes wrong. And then it's just like this whole emotion of just anger. And it's not from God. But maybe being patient or having discipline is not the easiest thing to do, but it's what God wants you to do. And then you do it. And then life becomes easier after that. And you see okay, God, your correction in that area was actually what was going to help me, not destroy me. We destroy ourselves.
Yeah, I think prayer without ceasing, and I'm very transparent about this, is kind of had the same turn for me where it's not this whole ritual and this holier than thou process of the prayer in the Bible, our Father who are in heaven. It is, you're absolutely right. It isn't a very ugly prayer where it's me stepping into the closet at work and just being like, okay, first I need to check myself.
Yeah.
And then secondly, dear God, you have created this human being that I would like to call a creature right now. And I need you to help me figure this out this very second. And that's what I think I like the most about my relationship with God, is that I do not have to come to him perfect. I don't have to come to him pristine. I don't have to be, this facade of a person. I could genuinely, even in the middle of chaos, I could just be like, okay, listen, this is where I'm at right now. And I'm a self-aware queen. I know that it is not right. I know that I need to straighten up and fix some things. but this is where I'm at. And he will absolutely meet me in the middle, halfway, whatever you want to call it. Not to justify or like make me feel better, but he will meet me to pull me and just be like, listen, this is where we need to head in this direction. So I love that you said that, because I think a lot of people are intimidated by prayer, or they don't even pray because they think they need to be on their knees in front of a bed or like on a chair or at a church to do it.
No, I do think there is a time and place where I have certain moments where I get on my hands and knees and I pray.
Absolutely.
You know, I think it's powerful and God sees that. But there's also times where it's just me going, God, I've got to be honest with you. I am not feeling this today. Like, what is happening? I talk to him like that.
Yes.
And I think some people, like when I've shared that with people, they're like, you pray like that? I'm like, yes. I talk to him like he is my father.
Yeah.
Like he is my friend, because he is.
Absolutely.
He's much more real to you when you do it that way too.
Yeah.
He's much more real. You mimic how you would treat your friend that's sitting next to you.
Yeah.
And through that process, of course, you know when the quiet times happen, and then you also know when the corrective times come too. But it's great that, so even in the morning, let's say you start off great and something doesn't go quite well.
Which it probably won't.
It's just a day in a life, right? And if it's something that you did personally, does that inhibit you from going back to God and just saying, hey, I didn't do this right?
I get what you're saying. Like the devil almost works with you on, oh no, you don't, like he already tried to tell you. Yeah, you can't go back. It's kind of like
yeah.
I think sometimes, I am guilty of that.
Are you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you'll live in it and stew in it sometimes.
Stew in
maybe?
it sometimes.
Yeah.
But I know all along, like I'm still stewing, but I'm like, this isn't right, but I'm stewing.
And then when you get calmed down, then you'll go back to him.
Yeah. I think for me, if I reach places like that, my go-to is praise and worship music. I really find that music just brings me back to God and brings God back into my house. Like Gabe, he doesn't know necessarily yet what Jesus and God is. He doesn't know what the words are in music, but I'll just blast it and stand there and praise God in my living room. And then Gabe will come over and, mimic the same thing. And it's just like welcoming him back into my home. And sometimes I will go like around my house after everyone's, gone to bed and just pray over Braden's room, pray over Gabe's room, pray over my husband. We try to pray every night together too. We're not always the best at it, if I'm being honest. That was one of our things we said we were going to work on. And, some nights you're tired and you forget. But yeah, I think that's important too.
Yeah. And you said something that I want to like sit on for a little bit, because you were talking about the way that you pray and it's shocking some people. Like, you really pray? You really say that? Like, that's how you talk to God? And it's funny that you say that, because we actually just finished an episode where we were kind of each talking about how it is that we pray and how it's very conversational, very non-formal, informal. John is getting informal. And Karen, the Nazi, the vocabulary Nazis, informal way of praying. But I think that, and we've talked about this before. Leanna's going to be so mad that I'm going to bring this into this episode. We've talked about this concept before where John and Karen had come over a couple of times to film, because we set up the studio here. And John had asked the question, can I go into your fridge without asking friends? And Leon was like, what is that? And I said, well, I mean, like if you just walk into someone's house and you're comfortable enough to open the fridge without asking for permission, like that's how you've established relationship. Like you're friends.
Yeah.
And I say that to say that in our Christian walk, sometimes I think that we treat God so formal that it does not allow for consistency. It does not allow for intimacy, because we feel like we have to put this whole production on to even say a couple of words to him. So, and as a personal trainer, I'm sure like people try to just disrupt their entire routine to work out this way and eat this way. And then they do that for about 4 weeks and then it falls off.
Yeah.
So
they go too extreme.
To an extreme. And I think that we do that a lot with God too, where like we give up listening to all this music and give up all of this, which that will eventually come. Like naturally, I feel like in your progression as a Christian and in your walk with Christ, just very much like when you're dating, things fall off. You no longer want to pursue this. You no longer want to pursue that. You stop texting all the people because you've committed to this one thing. It'll naturally happen, but I feel like a lot of the times we go to so many extremes in life that you don't allow yourself to develop that relationship with God and to just, we can pray however you want to pray. You can come just as you are.
I just had a thought. Somebody compared your walk with God as you age in life, and I liked that. God, like, you wouldn't correct a toddler in certain ways. So when you first come to God, he's going to correct you in ways that you're capable of. And then as you start to grow with him, as you grow as a human, you're able to handle more things, and then he starts to correct you more. And I loved that example.
It is a good example.
It's kind of like when you start off, you're right. A toddler wouldn't go extreme. You wouldn't send a toddler off to work. So just like in your walk with God, like just a hi, how are you doing today? Like that's enough for him.
Yeah. I feel like just come as you are takes a whole new meaning. It's not necessarily like, a sin and the ugly and we go to an extreme. We think come as you are and we think of like the prostitute in church. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about literally just come with what you have to give as you are. And we took a total U-turn, which is fine. But coming back to the pressures of having it all, where do you feel like you feel the most pressure in life right now?
I think that I feel the most pressure with myself. And what I mean by that is maybe not even as a wife or a mom, but just as a human being, whatever you're giving to in your life, it demands a lot of you. It demands a lot of sacrifice. But I think we oftentimes mistaken sacrifice with disappearing. And what I mean by that is I think I have gotten so good at pouring into everybody's life that needs me right now, my kids, my husband, the business, that I've forgotten that God also has called me to do something. So I think that it's important to remember that before you are anything, before you were a wife, before you were a mom, before you were, a worship team leader, you were Karen, you were Jovi, I was Katie, and I was a daughter of God. And he has a purpose for me. So I think remembering that has been a struggle.
Yeah.
I like how you put that about disappearing. I've never looked at it that way, but laying yourself down to the point where you disappear is never the goal.
Right. And I think that you can often think that.
You can.
Like, I'm laying my life down for God. Okay, this is what the life he's given me. This is the things that he needs me to do. And this is what my family needs. Everyone's pulling something from me, but he never wanted me to disappear completely.
Right. Right. That's good.
Are you feeling pressure anywhere right now, Karen?
No. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I think it's healthy to feel pressure.
Okay.
It's always healthy to have that. If you don't feel any pressure, then you're not growing.
I like that.
So it's healthy to be there. And then when you feel the pressure, you just got to take it somewhere. And you've got it somewhere, to me, is God. Say, okay, I'm feeling some pressure right here. What do I need to do? Where are my focuses at? I think about the words that I've said to other people in the last few, like if something's pulling on my heart, I'll think about things that have come out of my mouth in the last week or so, because that usually, it says out of the mouth, the heart speaks. And so can I find out something there? Have I been beating myself up? Have I been saying nasty things? I've been saying kind things. And then once I review all of that, I'm like, okay, maybe this is leading me here. And then I just keep talking to the Lord about it and trying to uncover things. But the pressuring, though, I think that's a healthy thing.
I mean, I agree with there is healthy pressure, but I also think there's very unhealthy pressure.
Definitely.
I have an example of the unhealthy pressure.
What would that be?
is it?
So obviously, I mentioned that my husband is an entrepreneur. I think we both are entrepreneurs. We started a mobile gym together. And then when we had my son Gabriel, I decided I was going to be a stay-at-home mom. That's hard, going from making your own money to not making any money and feeling like the pressure of I need to be contributing financially. And that's actually kind of goes along with the book that I'm writing. It's called The Woman Beside the Dream. Not behind the dream, beside the dream. And just in this stage of life, I'm not making money. And so that doesn't mean I'm unworthy or I'm not contributing to my family. I'm doing other things that are helping him be able to work.
It's not you. I caught that. I thought that. And
What?
John is texting.
Oh,
He's
what did he
naughty.
say?
It's about Karen.
Yes, it is.
What did you do, Karen?
No,
I think she mixed up the words to something.
I did. I mixed up the words. Well, not only that, he's asking if what I referenced was really from the Bible or not from the Bible. So So guys, we do have our two cohorts in the same room. You just can't see them right now. So they are actually communicating with us right now.
No, it's perfect though, because I was just gonna tell him, like, if you guys feel like you need or want to say anything, you could absolutely text it. But we would just finish saying we just filmed a Is It in the Bible or No, like a Bible or Cap episode.
Mm-hmm.
And she like mixed up the words to something. So John texted in the group chat, is that Bible or Cap? And it's fine. But you were saying the woman beside the dream.
Yes, the woman beside the dream.
Yes.
And just the pressure of feeling like I need to be contributing financially in the season.
Yeah.
That's tough.
So that's tied into unhealthy pressure.
Yeah, that's what I was giving
How-
an example of unhealthy pressure.
So how is that unhealthy? Why did that turn into an unhealthy pressure for you?
Oh, how would I describe that?
Because it wasn't like Carlos was coming home saying,
Yes.
you need to make more money.
Yeah.
No, I think it was.
So that was just an internal thing
yeah,
that you were
that I made up in my own head, and I think
Okay.
we do that often.
Well, I mean, it's fair to say, like, this is where we're going to get to a little bit of Katie's testimony, right? Because you have been providing for yourself the majority of your life.
Yes.
You raised your preteen son by
Mhm.
yourself for the most part without the help of his father. And then when you moved over here, you were just kind of like making things happen for yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like, tell us a little bit about, because I feel like that would be getting to the root of why you feel
Yeah.
like you need to contribute.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I moved here when I was 22 by myself. I just packed up everything in my Dodge Durango at the time and moved to Naples, Florida. My dad lives here, so I knew him. But I was pretty much on my own, lived with him for a little bit, kind of bounced around between jobs, moved in with some friends, got an apartment, got pregnant, wasn't married, had my son, and had a lot of responsibilities. So I've always just been hustling. I got a job at a dental office as a front desk girl, and it wasn't paying that well. I was really struggling with bills, so I walked back to the dentist and I said, what do I need to do to be your assistant? And he plopped down a big dental book. He's like, learn this and then come back and let me know. It was like a month. I was like, oh, millennials. I saw a reel about this the other day. Like,
Challenge
what are
accepted.
like, give me 3 days, I'm in.
Yeah.
And I pretty much just self-taught myself dentistry. And he sent me over to Nova University, which is in Miami, to get my certifications. And I became a dental assistant. So then I was able to provide for my son and I. So I've always just had that, like, I need to make my own money. I need to make my own money. And then when I got married, we were still both making money. And then we had Gabe, and we made the decision that we thought it would best, instead of sending him to daycare, that I would stay home. So when you go from one extreme to the other extreme, you have to like relearn your identity, and that's really hard. So I think that is where you can put unnecessary pressure on yourself.
Well, you knew yourself here. And
Yeah.
like you said, you had to learn who you are here.
Yeah, which is hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's something that is not talked about enough, especially as women, in general. Going through the stages of who you are before you get married, when you get married, and then, now you're not just yourself, you are part of a couple, and then you throw a child and then a baby into the mix, is something in and of itself. And then you throw hormones on top of that. I can't even begin to explain to you the phases of things. I remember having Andres, and you got married, and the next thing is to have a baby. So we're gonna have a baby, and I got pregnant, 0 issues. I had him, love him. And I looked in the mirror one day and I couldn't recognize the person in the mirror. Not only just like my emotions, but physically, I was, and the word is terrible to say, but I was disgusted at myself. I was like, who even is that?
Yeah.
I had gained so much weight. Mind you, all of this was to bring forth a human. So I understand that the body has to go through it, but there's just so much you want to talk about pressure.
Yeah.
There's so much pressure, especially now with like to bounce back. What even is a bounce back? I just brought a human.
Right.
Like, give me some time.
Yeah.
Dang
Well,
it.
and right, you probably saw, there's girls that they have a kid and then the next day they have a
Snap back.
six pack.
Yeah.
That definitely was not me. I was a big pregnant lady.
So that's, I mean,
I was.
I didn't notice you being that big.
Thank you, Karen.
You're welcome.
That's a true friend.
that's love.
That is love.
But and I know that you're not married. I know you don't have children, but I mean, I think you can identify with
You
being.
have children. You have cats.
I do.
She has kitties.
I have kitties.
We don't talk about the cats on this podcast. Oh, we don't talk about the cats. Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry. No cats.
Again, insert photo of Karen's cat.
Uh-huh.
But yes, you're right. She has her kittens. But I think you can identify with being different versions of you at different times.
Oh, of course.
And like how that transition sucks.
It's not an easy thing, especially like you were saying, you go from one focus to another focus. It's the same person. And I
Yeah.
think that's what's missing is you're the same person. So the things you needed here are the same characteristics that you need here, but the execution of what your purpose is might look a little different. But that transition's tough.
Yeah.
It is tough.
And honestly, I feel like we're going to talk about this later. I think I've introduced some topics to the team of like things that we should discuss. And one of them was what defines a biblical woman?
I'm reading
Yeah.
Proverbs right now.
What defines a biblical woman? And I
Yes.
think that like by actions and definitions alone, like someone who stays at home is raising her children, is taking care of the home, you would check all those boxes. However, I feel like that would leave me unfulfilled. I'm sorry.
Well,
Sorry,
another
not
thing
sorry.
that just popped into my head. This is kind of a weird pressure. Maybe it doesn't make sense, but it does in my head. Is the pressure to feel seen? Because my husband is, right now the entrepreneur, the trainer that everybody loves. He's doing a show. He's kind of in the spotlight, and then I have felt that the jobs that I'm doing are just sort of hidden, and nobody likes to feel hidden.
Well, and that touches back to what you said earlier, that you feel like you're disappearing.
Yes.
So that's all coming together.
Yeah.
That is focusing on each other. Wow. And when I see you, I see this grandiose person. Really, this person that has it all together. She's a wife. She's a mother. And she does it so well. She plays keys. She does it so well.
Meanwhile, we're sitting in the green room just like, how are you doing today?
Yeah.
Like whispering back and forth to each
That's
other.
so
And I'm like,
funny.
maybe we don't want to talk about that today.
So in the real life, what we present to other people may not necessarily be what's going on the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's for everyone. So I guess I like want to bring us to the part of the podcast where like, what are some takeaways that you've learned during this season of your life? Like for the mom, for the woman who's maybe feeling unseen or feeling like they're, what were the words that we just used? Disappearing.
Do you feel like you're through that now? Are you still looking for yourself, by the way? Just questioning.
I think that I have come to a good place now where I'm okay with where I'm at because I know God sees it.
I think that's what's so important to me is that we kind of put you on the spot on that because you're just coming out of that whole, like, it's a very exposed area for you right now. And that's what's so important is for people to know that, yeah, there's seasons in this life that aren't the easiest. So did you just persevere and just step into God the whole time just to work through that?
Yeah, I had to really dig deep.
What does dig deep mean? Did you just
Yeah,
talk
what did
to
that
him?
look like for you?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
I think being intentional on what I'm where I'm reading in the Bible, doing a little research on what could help the way I'm feeling. I think talking to people that I trust about the matter that are going to give me good advice and not just say things like, oh no, you have every right to feel that way. You
He's
should.
the worst.
Yeah, he's
So
the worst.
selfish.
Your kids are being terrible,
Yeah.
just pouring negativity, stirring that pot of, yeah, I need to, be seen.
And I think that's so important, guys, especially when it comes to a marriage. The relationship between a husband and a wife should stay between a husband and a wife. Arguments, successes, whatever it is. But if you are looking for advice on a situation, and I think John's spoken about this quite a bit, he has his people. He and Sarah both have their people that they turn to, that they go to, that are God-fearing, godly people that can kind of give them advice. It shouldn't just be anyone. You have to be very, very careful when it comes to stuff like that, because that's the person that you turn to that's sitting there just waiting for the opportunity to
yeah. Or maybe they're miserable or feeling
Right,
certain ways,
right.
and they want to take you down
right.
too.
Yeah. So you were saying that reaching out to people. Sorry that I heard that and I was like, oof,
No,
that is
that's
so
okay.
important for the married couples.
Yeah, now I just lost my train of thought. What was the question that you asked me again? I'm sorry.
What did
What
digging
did it
deep look like?
Yeah, what does
Oh.
digging deep?
Yeah, Bible, staying involved in the church. That's huge for me because
Really? So even in a time where you were like, this is sucky, the first thing.
well, because when you're not feeling good and you feel like you're so overwhelmed and you're busy and you're wrestling all these emotions, it's easy to want to just start
Cutting
things off the list.
Yeah.
And I don't mean this in a bad way, but playing the keys twice a month is okay, that's one
Easy.
less thing I need to worry about.
Right.
And I don't remember what church service it was, but I think Pastor Paul says it all the time. He's always said, don't leave the church. And I've really found that I gotta have my 2 Sundays a month where I play the piano. Just being around you guys, it just refreshes my soul. It reminds me of who I am, and it's something that I love too. So that's important. You're supposed to do things that you love, and it's honoring God in the process. So, yeah.
Love that. So those are 2 big pieces to digging deep.
Yeah.
So talking to him, staying involved with church, having an accountability partner, like you were referencing.
Yeah. And to go into the, who you're talking to about situations, sometimes it's okay to be a little isolated in seasons like that in life where you're kind of a little emotionally unstable, just to sort of close your doors and fix yourself first.
That's good.
I think God has seasons of isolation for a reason.
There are. There's desert times of desert that we've heard about, called it that way, where you are just kind of sitting alone. But in that alone time, it's important to be having communication with God, talking to him and stuff. So he can get into you what he wants to get into you in that time.
Yeah. And another thing with digging deep, my girlfriend asked me this the other day when I was up in Michigan. She's like, who do you hang out with down there? She was kind of like, do you have friends? And I'm like, I have friends. But then I thought about it. I'm like, I don't really hang out with a lot of people right now. But the reason is because we're in such a busy, heavy season of our lives that I have to save that energy and everything for them. So I'm just in a season that's it's just me and my little circle right now, and that's okay.
Leon and I are the same way. We socialize at church, we'll socialize at work. There's a couple of things that we do, maybe, if he goes golfing or if he has a work event or something, he'll do those things. But for the most part, he and I are home.
Yeah, we're
we're working on.
Do you want to go? No.
Whatever we've got going on at home, a home project with our son, making time for him, doing things outside with him. Because there are seasons where that is my family unit. That is what is most important to me. I think I've said it 100 times. That is what is most important to me right now. I'm going to prioritize that. And even though I may not see these friends all the time and we're not hanging out like we were in a different season of life, that doesn't mean that I'm not praying for you. That doesn't mean that I'm not, if you call me and something's going on, I am there. Let's talk about it. But There doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be a highlight reel all the time. We don't have to be hanging out all the time, going to dinners all the time, going, I don't think that's necessary.
No.
Personal reflection time is always good. And not just reflection, but personal time is good. So that you do have your own little hobbies and tasks that you like to do just with yourself. And whether it's knitting, crocheting, I'm not a knitter or a crocheter. I don't even know why I thought of those two things, but I did.
I'm like, for a second, I'm like, oh, Karen's over there with her cat, just crocheting. I'm like, meow.
I have no clue why I said those. But anyway, those are them. Maybe it's for somebody out there. But that quiet time is so vital, even in a busy season or a quiet season. So,
Yeah.
Okay, I want to get into the Faith Unfiltered Life questions for the guests, but before we do, anything you want to share with that mom, that person that's feeling this right now? Like, what would you say, even to yourself at the beginning of the season? What would you say to Katie then?
I would say, kind of a tough question. Word it one more time.
Katie at the beginning of this season that you just got out of, what would you say to her?
I would say that when it feels like you're kind of at a standstill, or you feel like you're disappearing, or you're invisible maybe to the world, God still sees you, God still notices you, and he is still working in your life, and you have a purpose.
that's good.
Yeah.
I like.
Because I kind of forgot that for a minute. That's a scary place to be.
So scary.
Then you're just sort of
That's a
living life,
great reminder.
not living.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like existing.
You're existing.
You're
That's
existing.
kind of how I felt for a minute. Just existing. And God was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I think this is kind of not off topic, but I'm just going to go into this little thought. Finding women in the Bible that you can compare yourself to has
Not off topic at all.
been helping me.
Yeah.
Ruth, her story.
We love her.
I've just been reminding myself of her lately, and it's just, I get goosebumps because I'm like, yes, she had a whole season of just kind of disappearing.
Yeah.
She was working in the fields.
Yep.
And then look what happened.
Changed her name and everything.
Yeah.
What about her story have you resonated with the most?
I think the waiting and the just trusting God and the little tasks that may not seem big. They're big to God.
And you know what's funny is, what was the other girl in that story? What's her name?
Naomi? No.
The mother.
That she went with?
Yeah,
It starts with an N, no?
it is Naomi.
Is it?
Yeah. What about her? And her, like, her being forgotten and her disappearing and her being unseen and just waiting.
And chastised.
Yeah, like her, I mean, I know that the book is Ruth, but like if you really read that book, the one kind of orchestrating and doing things and moving things and praying and teaching and building Ruth up was Naomi.
Yeah, imagine the pressure she felt from Ruth coming with her.
Well, no, hold on. A woman loses everything.
Yeah.
And at that
everything.
time, you were nothing without a man.
Nothing.
Talk about pressure.
You were
Yeah.
nothing with a man back then.
Yeah.
You were nothing with a man. You were much less
Unless-
without a man.
Unless you were with a godly man.
Your value was defined by the man,
Yeah.
right? How much he purchased you for, what he brought you into, his last name meant everything. You were nothing. So then we have this woman who was literally like, poor Naomi. Like, she's just going to have to be a widow that begs for
Yeah.
scraps on the side of the road. What's going to become of her? And then all of a sudden, God redeems her story and Ruth.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. Faithfulness and just kind of waiting on God and praying and sticking to, like, digging deep. That's literally the definition of digging deep.
that is a good definition of digging deep.
Yeah, that's so good. I love looking at situations in the Bible and just not comparing it in a way to where I'm like, oh, his story is way worse than mine, or my story is way worse than his. But I love seeing what God did in that moment. And it gives me hope.
It's encouragement.
And it gives me hope that the same God that did it then is doing it now.
Amen.
And that he can continue to do it. I love that you said that, because that's literally what we try to encourage for people to do. Not only correct us if we're wrong, we would love that. Not a challenge. Just honestly, if we are wrong, shoot us a text like John. But what I mean by that is the Bible is so much more than just a rule book. It is a great guide for us, but it is also a book full of hope.
And people to look up to, because people, they'll find like, oh, I really admire this person on Instagram. Why not find people in the Bible that you really admire?
A very good, better habit than comparing yourself to someone on Instagram, which is hardly ever true. But I think it's also a really good, there are such good human interest stories, for a lack of better word, in the Bible that, I love King David. I love King David so much. I love his story. Because it just has so many ups
he had
and
a lot
downs
of waiting.
and waiting. And if there was anybody who was unfiltered in the Bible,
Yeah.
it was him. It was him. He's our mascot, our biblical mascot. Some of the Psalms, like I posted about Psalms 14, where he's like, "You've forgotten me, God. Oh, just kill me now." And he's like so
Dramatic.
So dramatic.
And it's like, if he could pray like that, then I can too.
Yeah.
And if life sucked for him being the chosen one, the future king of whatever, okay. Like, did I expect it to not suck for me? All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's get over yourself, Jovi. But I do love that. I love that little takeaway.
I think if you're in the middle of a waiting room, you're in very good company, because that's a very common place to be for God's work to unfold in your life.
Yeah.
It's really common. I mean, you could rattle off dozens of people in the Bible who were in a waiting room for not just 3 weeks either.
No.
We're talking
Years.
13 years, 40
Years.
years, 33 years, tons of years.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I feel like that's the next thing that I'm going to do, is get the Bible that's in chronological order and not necessarily, like the regular order. That's going to help my perspective a whole bunch, because you turn the page and you see, maybe a few chapters down, the people of Israel make it from out of the desert and into the promised land. But when you look in chronological order, it wasn't just a few chapters down.
No.
David didn't just become king. Moses never made it into the promised land, but it wasn't just like what's his name? Really bad with names.
which one?
Noah.
Noah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't just build the ark in
Yep.
3 chapters. It
Yep.
happened over years. So I think the chronological Bible is going to do Jovi some good.
That's good.
And break my heart and my expectation of things. Because I'm like, I serve a mighty God. He could just,
Oh.
and I'm like,
They waited how many years? I'm reading
Right.
that right? Yeah.
Should we talk
not working.
Should we talk about the 400 years?
Yeah, let's not talk about any of that.
Okay.
Or how about the waiting and waiting and waiting, and you never see the results? The results come years and years later.
Yeah,
Oh,
for
yeah.
other people.
So
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
in this lifetime, I'm never going to receive the fruit of my labor. It's going to be meant for somebody else. And are you okay with that?
Very true.
That is
That's a
good.
hard pill to swallow.
It is.
Because wait a second.
What you mean?
I just put in all this work and I don't get to win at
Any of
nothing?
And it comes back to what you said earlier about knowing that God is right there and he sees you.
Mhm.
He sees everything.
That's
you're
all
doing.
that matters.
That's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Very good stuff. Love that. See, always talk about your little side thoughts. Are always great. We encourage them here. Okay, so with every guest, we are hoping to ask these questions. ChatGPT said they should be our signature questions, but we'll see about that. Okay, Katie,
Yes.
what does real faith for real life mean to you?
Real faith for real life. I think everything we've talked about today is that real faith for real life, believing in God when you're waiting, believing in God when you're disappointed, believing in God when you don't feel seen, believing in God when you're busy, believing in God when your marriage is, going through a rough patch, believing in God when your kids are screaming. It's the icky hard parts is the real faith.
That's good.
That's so good. Love that. Next question. What is something about faith that you wish the church talked about more honestly?
I think that our church honestly does a really good job at covering a lot of topics. Pastor Paul is very open, and so is Pastor Maria, and I really love that about our church. But I think a topic that could be talked about more is it's okay to grieve your life before Christ. And what I mean by that is, so like we were saying earlier, you start, believing in God. He's teaching you this. You start dropping that, dropping that, dropping that. But you can't ever expect yourself not to miss that. And I think Christians feel a sense of guilt or, oh, I'm not, a good Christian, or, oh, I'm doing something wrong because they might grieve who they used to be. Like, for instance, I had a group of friends that I don't really hang out with anymore because they just continue to do the things that they love to do and they just don't align with my life anymore. Still love them to pieces. I would do anything for them, but I just can't surround myself with them.
Mm-hmm.
But I would be lying if I didn't say that sometimes I see their stories and like, oh, I wish I was in the club.
Feel like you're
Sort of like, not necessarily,
Yeah, but
but
hanging
like
out,
feel like
having
you're
fun.
missing out
Yeah.
and kind of grieving that a little bit, like that freedom. But I think that's okay.
Yeah. And we don't disagree with you. Leon wrote a blog actually on something very similar to that. If you'd like to see that blog, you should visit our website. And I think it's titled, I Am Saved, Why Am I All of a Sudden Lonely?
Mm-hmm.
And
Good.
it's a really, really good one. And it's not saying that you condone the lifestyle. It's not saying that you miss that you're sinning, but there are some things that there's some weight that does have to come off of you when you accept Christ. And it's dead weight.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's weight that you realize because of him, you don't want anymore too.
Yeah.
The desire for it, what you're, a lot of times you can reflect and remember the moments. You can remember the fun. You can remember the laughter. But if you really look at the whole context of everything and you ask yourself, do I really want that again?
Right.
Usually,
I would say no.
Yeah, you would say no.
Yeah.
But it's not tied to a person per
No,
se.
No,
It's
no.
not tied to the person. It's tied to what the life was doing in that moment, and you
you're
don't
leaving
want
open doors and you don't
Yeah.
want those doors open. And I
Yeah.
think the best way that I could explain that is when you have a dead foot and you keep it, it's going to continue to infect every single thing
Mhm.
until there's nothing left. You cut the foot off, guess what? You've cut the infection. You can salvage the rest of the leg, the body, whatever it may be. But there are some things that just infect the rest of your life if you allow them to stay.
Mhm.
As much as you miss them, it does affect other areas of your life, whether it be spiritually, whether it be physically. So, I mean, and it's okay to mourn those things.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
totally okay to mourn those things. And it is something that everybody experiences.
Yeah.
I feel like as you become saved, you kind of feel like, oh, wait, what's next? What's going on? Again, check that blog out because it's really, really good.
I'm gonna read that.
Next question. When has following Jesus been the hardest for you?
Following Jesus has been the hardest for me when I don't receive what I'm asking for when I think that I should be receiving it.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Can be very hard.
Yep. Like we were saying, want that now, please. Yeah, it's
So you've experienced that,
Mhm.
obviously. Does that mean it's something that you received later or it wasn't for you?
both.
Both.
Yeah. One that comes to mind is when we had our son Gabriel, we were living in a 2-1 house, 900 square foot house. And we ended up having to obviously put Gabe's crib in our bedroom, and we were just all snug and happy family in there. And I just kept praying every single night. I believe for a bigger house. I believe for a bigger house. And it did not come. And it did not come. And it did not come. I mean, we live in Naples. It's expensive. And that is one area where it eventually did come. And it was a blessing. And I understood why we had to wait for it. And I learned to appreciate that little house. But that's hard. That's hard on the days that you're just waiting and waiting and it's not coming. And you're like, have you forgotten me? What's going on? I'm not hearing you. So,
Not to get into a detail, but was there a time that you didn't receive something that you adamantly wanted and did later down the road, you're like, I'm so glad I didn't get that?
no, but there has been things that we adamantly wanted that I felt the Holy Spirit telling me, no, you don't need that. And we pushed for them anyway.
Okay.
They came, they were there for a season. And when they left very hard. And I was there saying, yeah.
Oh, that's even harder than what you asked, Karen.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, that's really tough. Because you're like, oh, I could have avoided all of this.
And that's really cool. Not cool. But it's interesting that we can pursue things that are not good for us. And because we decide to do it on our own, God allows it. So a lot of people say, oh, you can't do this, that, and the other. No, you can do a lot of things in God. It's not necessarily everything He has lined up for you, but you went out on your own and got it anyway, like you said. So
and it's funny because it happened in our business. And later on, when it crashed and burned, Carlos remembered. He came to me and he said, you remember when you said you didn't have a good feeling about this, that God was telling you this was a no? I'm like, yeah. And we didn't listen.
Yeah.
You can doubt yourself.
Yeah.
We're human.
Yeah.
But
That was good.
that's good.
Thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
What truth about God are you holding on to in this season?
That even though I'm in a point in my life where I feel hidden, I guess you could say, or that my tasks are more simple, I am still doing mighty things for the kingdom of heaven, even if they're just known within my house.
That's good.
They don't have to be known anywhere else. And I think also we live in a society that, everybody's on social media. Everyone wants to be Insta famous. Everybody this, that. And it's just like programming now into our brain that everybody has to know us. No, they don't.
No.
Just God.
Yeah.
So good. So good. And the last one, that's just funny because she was like, did you misspell full?
I
like,
did.
what are we?
And then I'm like, oh, I'm so silly. That's their podcast name. I'm like, full?
That's okay. This is why we're asking this
Mean
question.
to
'Cause
live full? Like,
she's like,
eat a lot?
like FULL? I was like, no, FUL. What does it mean to you to live full? And that's an abbreviation for Faith Unfiltered Life. Is it abbreviation or what's the other word?
Not an acronym. Well, you can use an acronym if you want, because except it's not a full, complete word full. We'd have to come up with another L.
For it to be an acronym?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
We're learning things.
so
So it is an acronym? Okay.
we can use technically.
So what does it mean to you?
For me personally, and I don't think this is the same for everybody else.
It's not going to
Yeah.
be the same for
Nope.
everyone.
For me, I know some people are private. I am not necessarily a private person when it comes to things I'm going through. I'm always open to share things from my past, what I've been through. I don't necessarily have shame of that. And I think for me to live a faith unfiltered life is to just be open and honest with people about all the phases of my life. And I will never forget it. I have a friend who I still am trying to get to love Jesus. But she was like, the thing I love about you and your faith is that I feel like I can still relate to you and that I can talk to you and you're never going to judge me. And I'm like, girl, I've done it all.
Yeah.
My past is messy.
Yeah.
And I think just letting people know that and God still loves me and he's still using me and he can do the same for you.
That's awesome.
Not trying to act like you're all holy and, high on your high horse to talk to people.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. I mean, I know you were saying this, that's what it means to you, but that's the purpose of this table.
Yeah.
It's to have the conversations to just let people know, like, listen, I don't care what the facade or like what it may seem like on the outside. We all have all of these struggles. These are things that we are all constantly having to bring to God. But the objective is that you bring it to God.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to get cleaned up first. You don't have to get tidy first. You don't have to have it all figured out. Just bring it to him. And we want to talk about it because we want to work through it with you. We want you to live life practically in Christ.
Right.
Like, we're not saying that you got to be perfect when you're doing this. And I think what you talked about, looking up women in the Bible or looking up people in the Bible, when you see how they lived out their faith, it absolutely was not perfect at all. The Bible has the best drama.
Yeah, it's a very dramatic book.
The Bible has the best drama. It's got the best tea. It could be the best reality TV show that you've ever read. But I think people forget that. People forget that the Bible is made up of imperfect people that loved Jesus and that lived a life for them. And that is absolutely what live full means.
Yeah.
I love that. Karen?
That is it for me. Unfiltered. I love that you were so unfiltered.
Yeah.
We really appreciate that because that's what speaks volumes. Just like you said. The way you defined that was so perfect. It really was.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything you want to add before we head out? Actually, yeah, tell us. Well, you haven't released your book yet.
No.
She hasn't released her book
In the
yet, but you can
process.
absolutely follow her on all of her social media.
You guys are actually like the first people that I'm telling about it.
I love it.
I've learned that it's best to keep
Things quiet for a
Yes.
while.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We love that so much. So absolutely follow Katie on all of her social media platforms to kind of keep tabs on it. And who knows, maybe it'll be like in our newsletter or something because we have one of those. So follow us online, www.faithunfilteredlife.com, where you can find out all the things about the podcast. We stream on all of your favorite platforms. Subscribe to all of our social media accounts, and we will see you guys next time.
See ya.
Bye.